it's a night unlike I've ever experienced at the Spectrum Center, with the Hornets falling to the Pistons, but the result might not even be the biggest story of this matchup. We talk about the brawl and all things Charlotte Detroit today. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
I need to lay down. I need a melatonin.
You need melatonin.
I need melatonin. Walker melatonin. I need something. I'm still going nutso. It's Locked On Hornets, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free. We're available anywhere you get your pods. That includes at YouTube. There's Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also Yahoo Sports Daily. Go check out both shows. Go check out both content vehicles. When he's on Yahoo Sports Daily, he's behind the scenes. He's producing for Jason Fitz and Caroline Fitton. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 WFNZ. Real quickly, do need to tell you that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Appreciate them as always. The winter games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with a bet on FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Whew. Doug, the Hornets, they lose to the Pistons 110 to 104. But it's not even really about that. All right. I've got all my notes, pages upon pages.
What?
There's a lot to write about. I got them all here.
I was ready to talk about pick and rolls. I was ready to talk about, the ice. Come on. Icing the screen. Come on.
You want to talk about ice?
No, I don't want to talk about ice. I said icing the screen. I said icing the screen.
Okay. Let's not talk about that. Let's instead talk about what in the hell happened in the third quarter, okay? Because I'm going to try to get this correct as correct as possible. So in the third quarter, Hornets and the Pistons, they're going back and forth, and Hornets are down. Jalen Duren going pretty crazy in the third quarter. Really just an awesome presence in the paint. It's one of the few times that I think we've seen Moussa and his effort and his strength neutralized. I don't think that there are very many players that can do that in the NBA. Jalen Duren is one of them. And it's not even like Moussa can get leverage on him as much as some of the other trees, because Jalen isn't all that tall, right? Like this was a hell of a match between the two. And I joked about it, Doug. I talked about the over-under on Jalen, Moussa, and Beef Stew scuffles. It needs to be set about 2.5 for this game. But there was going to be something that happened. Joked about it, not even really joking about it. So all of it comes to a head in the third quarter because Moussa Diabate fouls Jalen Duren in the post.
It wasn't like a crazy foul. Like it wasn't even a hard foul. It was just a foul.
Just a battle between those two. I mean, Moussa is being real physical with Jalen Duren, and it's all just it's a battle down low. That's what it is. Moussa fouls Duren. Duren doesn't love it. Both guys headbutt one another. Mm-hmm. After the headbutt, Jalen Duren decides to push Moussa's face away from his face.
His entire face. His entire face.
And that was really the pin that was pulled out of the grenade on this situation. It was Duren deciding to push Moussa's entire face. Speaking of not loving it, Moussa didn't love that. So he goes after Jalen Duren once, and they separate the two because Duren is backing up really the entire time that this brawl is happening. Moussa, after being separated from Duren the first time, he recharges. And as Jalen is backing up, not only do you have Moussa who recharges and then is corralled again, Miles Bridges decides that he's going to make a run at Jalen Duren, who's pretty far away from him. As soon as Miles decides to go after Jalen Duren, here comes Beef Stew. Oh, boy.
Is that Beef Stew's music?
It's too late. Here comes the crock pot, ready to mix it up. The two get into it there, and boy, that was a real fight that almost went to the ground. Miles tried to pick him up. I'll be honest, a lot of it I couldn't see. Just for people that are watching us on YouTube and that are listening to this, we are recording this. It is 11:09 Eastern, 10:09 Central for Doug in Nashville. So I literally got straight to the crib and opened up the computer, turned on the lights, the neon sign, and hopped on while simultaneously taking in some of the video, some of the information that continues to come in. And this is everything that I saw from my angle, just because people know that I broadcast for FanDuel Sports Network. I'm on the games. Where I sit for some of this stuff, it's easy to see where I sit next to Dell and Eric on the call. But then at the end of these situations, there's a lot that I miss with their commentary, with good views, because there are a bunch of people standing up right in front of me. But this was as wild a game as I've ever been to, especially with the crowd behind it. It was hardcore playoff atmosphere. You heard the national audience talking about it. After what happened, Hornets fans were ready to go. They were ready to fight too. My blood was going nuts. My heart was going crazy. This was a wild game, Doug. And me being there, I've never felt the Spectrum Center like that before. Given the circumstances, I've never heard it like that before. And I have to imagine you felt a lot of the same things with all that noise coming through your television screen.
I did, and I know you just landed and you're catching up on everything, and you were hard at work there at the Spectrum Center. So I'm going to, and I don't think we're going to get in trouble for this. We can't show the video of the whole fight. There's all kinds of rights issues, but I just need to show you the only video that you need to see from this, and it's this tweet from Sarah here that says, "The Hornets mascot wandering through the fight scene is sending me." And it's just Hugo walking through while someone is trying to restrain Moussa Diabate in one of the expensive seats near the baseline.
Yeah, they're chilling in the squat. Like the fans are over there where they're trying to calm down Moussa, who they're having a hell of a time trying to calm him down. It won't happen.
Well, and Knueppel had probably the funniest remark of the post game when he said that he was trying to go over there to calm Moussa down because he knew that Moussa would not hurt him, and that begs a lot of questions like, who would Moussa hurt? And I think it might, in that moment of rage, it might have included some of his teammates, just not Knueppel. You can't hurt Khan.
It felt like he was dealing with an animal that he's gained the trust of over years and years of handling and working with. This is an actual moose that he has gained the trust of that some of his other teammates may not have because they haven't put the time in like Knueppel. Hilarious comment. Lots of comedy within all of it. Don't know how much we'll get to, but there's a lot of comedy.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a spectrum of NBA scuffles that range from Malice at the Palace to your standard fake fight that everyone sort of agrees upon, like hockey, where they actually do hit. But in hockey, they still agree on things you can do. It's unwritten, and some of it's written. And there's things you can do and you can't do. And then there are punishments within the game. NBA, a little bit similar. There are fake fight rules that everybody kind of abides by so that they don't get suspended. And the most unbelievable part of this for me is Moussa's inability to be restrained. That's going to be the interesting thing is there's his initial reaction to being hit in the face, which I think is a natural reaction to one's entire face being pushed, going after the guy like that. Yes. Had it stopped there, I think we're still in the territory of maybe only Duren getting punished. But it's once he was restrained and then he got away from the people, the security team, the people that were trying to restrain him, and then went after Duren again. That's when we went into some deeper territory. And then once it started getting near the fans, that's when I was like, oh, holy bleep. Are we about to, I've called it the brawl at the box, jokingly. But for a minute there, I was like, oh man, are we about to do Malice at the Palace again? Are we about to see 40-game suspensions or rest of season suspensions as this thing starts to spill over? Because then all it takes is some fan thinking, and courtside fans love to think they're part of the game. All it takes is one fan thinking, oh, I'm going to go in and defend Moussa from Duren. And then it's all hell breaks loose. Thankfully, it didn't get to that point. But just it makes me wonder when it comes to Moussa. I mean, this whole team has been playing red hot emotions on their sleeve, feeling like they have something to prove for 9 straight games. And Moussa in particular has taken a lot of contact, and he wants it. He wants the contact. He welcomes the contact. But he's taken a lot of contact, and he's fought tooth and nail every single game. And you just wonder if this was coming. And Duren provided it, but if it was coming eventually, because, Moose has just been taking on so much, and he obviously reacted very strongly in a way that I'm like, the moment that sits in my head is him being ushered out of the arena in the tunnel. The cameras catch this moment where he's emotional. He's not mad. He's emotional as 4 security members have him in a death grip, trying to remove him from the situation. It was wild.
Yeah, he went to an emotional place where he could not be calmed down for quite some time. And the Mike Tyson comment comes to mind. Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the mouth. Moussa Diabate lost all semblance of whatever plan was supposed to happen after that foul back and forth between those two. Lost any semblance of a plan as soon as it took place because he wasn't here for it. Moussa going after him, you're right. There was the recharge, and that's going to be something that I have to imagine the NBA is paying attention to. The fact that you re-escalate it, right? It's all starting to calm down just a little bit. Moussa being restrained. Hornets staffers and team members, they're holding him back. Moussa fights through it because his want-to, quite frankly, was 10,000 times more than the want-to of the staff holding him back. They didn't realize it. They didn't know, this is quite literally like holding on to a bull moose wanting to fight and destroy Jalen Duren. And how could you? I'm not saying it's any of their faults. How could you know that Moussa immediately went to that place? But he did, and after, everybody started to understand, okay, this is wild. This is something that we need to take care of right here, right now. Khan coming over there, LaMelo going over there. I thought LaMelo was kind of interesting if we want to focus on him after the first A through H points that need to be discussed here. Everybody tries to go calm Moussa down, and he's rocking back and forth. He basically needs a straitjacket. Finally,
he's in a fugue state. He's in a fugue state. He was in a complete fugue state.
Right. So then he's corralled, and then you can see him. I did see this clip on my little monitor. I could see him saying, "I'm okay, I'm calm," or whatever the word was. It was something to the tune of, I'm fine, as nobody believes him, nor should they. The whole time he's saying that, there are still 4 security members holding him back and taking him to the locker room. And last thing, because you brought up the fans, Doug, you're so right when you were just wondering what's next. I don't know how many people were asking that question watching this sequence of events, but I know I was. I was asking what's next about every second that passed by. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And what I was worried about was that the fans were going to get involved. And I don't know if I should commend the fans for behaving the way that they did, but it certainly feels like I should, Doug. If I'm just going to give you my emotion and the feelings that I have, I think that's how you embrace a playoff atmosphere. You embrace your team during a brawl. You have Jalen Duren holding the front of his jersey to Hornets fans as he's walking out of the tunnel, just egging it on, right? It's like, oh my God. It's like you just know the drink is going to fly slow motion in the Malice at the Palace documentary style. I know I'm going to see it fly across my little monitor. I just know it's going to happen. I know somebody's going to feel like they can take Jalen Duren on and they're going to go right in his face. And I don't want this to be crazy. I don't want to escalate it more than I have to. I don't want to hyperbolize anything. I'm asking what's next, because there's Duren holding the front of his jersey up like I'm ready. This is me. And Beef Stew clearly has demonstrated he is not one that is afraid of the smoke. He wants it. He runs to it. He is drawn to it like a magnet. So with all of that happening, with Detroit having that reputation, I thought the drink is going to fly. The pizza box is about to be thrown like a Frisbee. And it never was. And instead, the Hornets fan base fueled that into something that I think uplifted Charlotte in the latter half of the third and really specifically the fourth. So I actually really do commend the Hornets fan base / tip the cap to them for the way that they handled all of it, because it felt like it could have gotten ugly.
No, the cable box was rocking in all of the best ways. And, there's a lot more to talk about with this fight. I think, look, I'm never going to be pro fist fight, but emotions are, but emotions were like supercharged in this one. And I think the officials that ejected the players had as much to do with that as anything. We can talk about that some more. But, what Moussa and really everybody has to learn from this situation is like, you have to understand where the line is and try because once you cross the line, as we've discussed in this segment, anything can happen. And so thankfully it didn't escalate. I think this is going to be multi-game suspensions for everyone involved.
Totally agree.
But I don't think it's going to be malice at the palace level,
No.
30 game suspensions or anything like that. But it could have been. It could have been.
I need to lay down. We got two more. I still am too jacked up, though. I need somebody to calm me down. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
Yeah, we go through a few more bullet points on the brawl in the third quarter. The brawl at the box. Phew, buddy. Maybe
do people remember that we call it the cable box? I'm worried about it. I'm worried about because the problem is we called it the cable box and then the Hornets stank for like 20 years. That's the problem.
And it's not Time Warner Cable Arena anymore.
But it used to be. That's what I'm saying. It used to be.
No, I'm with you. No, you're good. You're wanting to fight me, and I don't want any smoke. I'm good with it. I was about to say it. Brawl.
Pull me back.
It's brawl at the box. People still call it that. More to come next.
Do it.
Oh, all righty. Where are we? Goodness gracious. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. Prize Picks is giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. It's America's #1 app for sports picks. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if your picks are right, you can cash in. You can choose from basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, UFC, even more. It's kind of a UFC night out there tonight in the Spectrum Center. Plus, they've got features like early payouts, flex play, so you've got options while the games are still happening. You could download the app, and you might be surprised at how easy it is to get started. All it takes is just a couple minutes to build your first lineup. You're off and running, baby. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Want to tell you about the Everydayers Club real quickly. Thank you for making Locked On Hornets your first listen and a daily listen. Because of that, you've made the Locked On Sports Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayers Club. You get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Hornets, compatible with Apple Pods, Spotify, every other major podcast app. You get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. So one thing that you can do is you can just go check out the URL by visiting our website. Doug, what's the website? Because I'm frazzled and I don't have it pulled up in front of me. What you got?
It's lockedonhornets.supercast.com, or you can click the link in the show notes.
Okay, what are the other most important things to hit here? Where do you want to steer the wheel? Because I just needed to kind of like decompress after everything that happened in this game. Where do you think that we should steer the ship?
So I think I want to leave the fight at some point because we have to talk about the fight that the Hornets showed in the second half, and they did that. I mean, I think they really said to the world, we belong on this stage. I think they, whenever these fights happen, particularly when it's a team that's under 500 and generally not regarded as a force in the NBA against one of the best team by record in the Eastern Conference, a lot of times these things can happen during like a 20-point blowout of the Hornets or a Hornets level team. And then the fight happens and everyone goes, this team's a joke. I can't believe they're trying to fight the best team in the East. But that's not what this situation was. The Hornets were going blow for blow. And then after the fight, they get down 10 points and still, because of Knueppel, because of Brandon Miller, because of so many factors, they were able to stay in this game until the very end. I think that's important. But I've got one more thing on the fight, which is that, like, obviously it went over the line and there will be punishments and all of that. But I think it's important for the Hornets to say, you can't push us around, because they went up. Look, they had the defense and they had some level of physicality that could compete with Detroit. But Detroit, as was previewed many times by Del Curry before the game, they were going to foul nearly every possession. And this is what they're stealing the model from the Oklahoma City Thunder, which they say, look, officials, we dare you to call a foul on every single play. We're going to push, pull, and do everything we can. And I thought the Hornets responded well to it, but Detroit took it to a level, despite what their coach Bickerstaff said after the game about them not initiating it. Jalen Duren absolutely initiated it, and they took it to a level that it didn't need to go to, a disrespectful level. And I'm glad that Moussa stood up and said, you can't treat the Charlotte Hornets like this, because you have to establish that in this league. And unfortunately, it just went over the line. But I'm glad that at least it was established.
So I have on my notes right here, because I have a ton. I'll try to show you just a little bit. Some of the people, the chicken scratch that I'm showing, right? You see that line right there? You see that?
Yeah. I see the line.
One of the, I wrote
rugby match.
It's a rugby match. It's a rugby match. That line is the separator of what I saw all the way up until the foul. And then after the line, that's when we got the brawl, right? Like, I wrote that down before that happened because it was escalating. It was escalating. Jalen Duren was frustrating Moussa. Like, this is the thing. Both of those guys were annoyed with one another because of how hard and strong that they play the basketball game. Bottom line, Jalen Duren has 40 pounds on Moussa. Like, hey, you know me. I don't know how many people love him more than I do, but a spade is a spade, man. Like, that's a tough matchup for anybody. I don't know if Jalen is used to playing somebody that plays as hard as Moose, but once he was initiated, once that was all initiated, he was like, okay, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm going to show you that I'm not one to be trifled with. And Moussa responded the same way when he got his face pushed to the side after the headbutt because of the foul that Duren didn't like. This was a crazy physical basketball game. And you're right. When we start to shift that way, it's all tied together. Charles Lee in the post-game presser at the top of that availability said, this was an awesome game. He loved it. You know he loved it because of the way that his team responded, especially in the fourth quarter, with 40% of your starting lineup out, the Killer Bees destroying everybody. You don't have 40% of that. And Moussa was a monster reason as to why that team started to play so well. And you wanted the ultimate test. You wanted to create history with a 10-game win streak. Didn't happen. And you had to go through the best team in the Eastern Conference to do it. And even after all of that, small back and forth, LaMelo, Cade, thought Josh Green was just absolutely insane in the fourth quarter. That guy can play for my team anytime he wants. It's because of that. Knueppel hitting a three. You're right. We should commend the Hornets for the way that they responded, and they know it. Brandon was feeling all the bravado after this game. So was Charles Lee, who got ejected. Something else we haven't mentioned even yet. Yeah, man, you're right. They're not going to be a Hornets team that you can push around anymore.
Well, Charles Lee got ejected long after the brawl, but it's all connected because the reason that Detroit felt like they could do what they did is because the officials were just blowing whistles randomly. The calls were not consistent. And it all came to a boiling point when Grant Williams was just going up the court, barely grazed a Detroit Piston defender.
B-ball Paul. Yeah, he was great when he came in, but it was Paul Reed. Yeah.
And Paul Reed flops to the ground, and the officials call it. It's like, wait a minute, what are we playing a physical game or are we not? Let's play one style of game. Are we going to play the normal game the way it's officiated, where it's free-flowing and contact is not allowed? Or are we going to play this rugby, smash-mouth version that to be fair, you'll often see officiated in the playoffs? And that's what I think Charles Lee's saying when he says this was a freaking awesome game, because it has to prepare the Hornets for what they could possibly see in a first-round matchup. I mean, if they're 8, if they sneak in out of the play-in, they're going to play Detroit for 7 games, most likely.
Oh my God.
And so, you have to be prepared for that, not just one game, but you got to be prepared for that for, at least 4. And so I think that's what he means, but that's what sent Charles Lee over the edge. It's like you cannot call, and he had to be restrained too. And, I think there's a little bit of standing up for your team, which we've been calling for all season. I'm surprised it took this long, but great on Charles Lee for finally stepping up and saying, yeah, toss me out of the game because this is bleeping ridiculous. And I think the players, they said after the game, they respected that.
Yeah, and right, that's the question. How much of it was on purpose? How much of it was, some kind of mix of natural feelings and it being on purpose? They held him back pretty damn quickly.
It's real to me, damn it.
No, and look, it's not like Charles Lee doesn't have any emotion. He's a crazy man on the sideline. Now, it's never hostile. That's not something that we see from him. But
he knows the line.
That he knows the line. And I think he purposefully crossed it in order to, I don't know this, but it feels like he was okay. At the very least, he was okay getting thrown out because it was a terrible call. You mean after all of that, now we don't have our guys and you're going to call a foul on Grant when LaMelo has 5. Okay, maybe not at that point, but he was in foul trouble. So LaMelo's in foul trouble and you're going to call some lame ass foul on Grant Williams where Paul Reed honestly should have been assessed to technical for flopping the way he did because it was a complete and total flop. I'm with it. I'm with Charles Lee doing this, by the way, which I know you just said you were too. Hell, everybody was. You could hear the crowd chanting and screaming for him as he was getting, as he didn't need escorting, as he was going back to the tunnel to go back to the locker room, wherever it was that he went.
He didn't charge a second time. He charged once, and he said, all right, I'm going to leave now.
That was it. Last thing before, we talk about this a little bit more and then try to talk about some basketball. It did feel like something dramatic. Look, this is a team that has not made the postseason in a decade. This is a team that has caught a million strays. This is a team that has been in the news for a million different reasons other than successful basketball. Their biggest victory for a long time, over the last 10 years, I would say, it was Kemba getting some shine and maybe a few individual accolades here and there, but really it was, that's not a terrible mistake. But what's happening now, you had a 9-game winning streak with a 10-game winning streak on the line against the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And it doesn't mean that these other teams were taking Charlotte lightly, because they weren't. But I do have to wonder just how many people, because history says that this is the same old Hornets, right? When you start to look back at the history, I wonder how many people were really taking them seriously as a fan base. And I think what you saw tonight was, we're here. We're not coming. We're not on our way. We're here. And if you want to just coast on a Monday night at the Spectrum Center, that's fine, but you're going to lose, and you might lose by 25. No more Jason Tatum saying somebody's wearing my jersey when I go to Charlotte on a Monday night, and so that's why I have to play hard. Nah, man, they're going to be wearing Hornets jerseys. They're not going to be wearing yours because of this team and the way that they've been playing here recently. And I think that's why this squad is feeling so good in the way that they talked after this game. Great stuff.
And just really quickly, that's why, to me, it was so important. The comeback after the brawl was so important because this is going to be talked about. We're going to talk about it on Yahoo Sports Daily tomorrow. It's going to be talked about all over the league circles and the different shows tomorrow. And I think had the Charlotte Hornets laid down and the way Cade was playing, they could have lost by 20. And had they laid down, I think the narrative about the Charlotte Hornets would be a lot different tomorrow morning, because we're recording this right after the game ended. The narrative would be a lot different. And so to me, that comeback was absolutely critical to say to the league, no, we're not just out there trying to fight the best teams. We're out there trying to beat the best teams.
Is it called mushing somebody when you push their face? I've seen Roy Bellamy from the Dan Le Batard show tweet at Bomani and say, oh no, he mushed him. I don't know. I've never heard it called mushing, but it doesn't sound great.
See, this face hasn't been touched, I was Duncan Robinson. I don't know if you saw Duncan. He was like, my name's Win It and I'm not in it. That was me. When stuff went down, Said I have a pretty face. I got to keep it.
Oh, no. Moussa got mushed, and that was it. That's all he needed. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
Let's talk about the game. Latter part of the third quarter, fourth quarter, how everything is tied together. Con stepping up, Brandon stepping up, Josh Green, Grant Williams, even Kalkbrenner a few times, man. This team responded. We'll get to that in just a moment. Coming up next, LOH. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The winter games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. That's why following the winter games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling matches that start slow and then somehow get intense and fast. Oh, buddy, some would even say it's a Hornets-Pistons matchup, the way that it starts to escalate. Speed skating races, they're decided by inches. Hockey games that feel different right from the opening face-off. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. The winter games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. This episode is also brought to you by Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria, life skills, certifications, and locations. So here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Take it away, Doug. I've been decompressing this entire time, so feel free to be the ship captain again.
Oh, let's take a look at the Every Hornets box score game notes that I put up. Yeah, I mean, I commended them on their effort, their competitiveness, the resilience of that team in the second half. It was incredible. There's obviously some things that you look at in this game and you go, okay, Detroit was able to expose a few weaknesses that they would certainly do in a playoff series. And I think there's an extent to which the Charlotte Hornets can improve on some of those weaknesses. And there may be an extent to which they have to just try to cover it up with shooting. But I will say, like, in a potential playoff matchup between these two, this would be an interesting styles make fights, because you saw the Pistons just completely focus on scoring points in the paint, and they were able to do that much more effectively than the Charlotte Hornets. But the Hornets were able to put up a lot more threes, and so this would be an interesting 2 versus 3 math game that would really be decided by some kind of rebounding metric that involved Jalen, Duren, and Moussa Diabate. Like, how many second chance opportunities are the Charlotte Hornets going to be able to limit? Because that was a problem for them in the first half. But this was like, it was size. It was, which we talked about, depth of the big position, which we've talked about. And it was also, and to your credit, you pointed this out, at the trade deadline, like, why not keep Tyus Jones? Why not keep Mike Conley Jr.? Because you need secondary playmakers, people that can dribble the ball and make a pass. They just could not. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And it was Sion coughing it up. It was LaMelo getting trapped and coughing it up. It was, Khan's not really asked to do that. Brandon did it a few times. Before the brawl, Miles had like 3 straight turnovers that were just
that was earlier on. Yeah,
it was way early in the game, but again, it just goes back to that. The wings that we have on this team really have limited playmaking ability. And then on top of that, you really don't, because Kobe White's not going to be back until who knows when, but certainly after the All-Star break. It's like you have a severe lack of creation on this team whenever LaMelo goes to the bench.
Yeah, showed up here. So actually, in the first half, when LaMelo went to the bench, I talked about it on the broadcast a couple times, but the guard action that separated Khan from the defense to get him a couple of shots knocked down, that was huge. Sion, if you got to the paint, he would pass blindly to the corner to a Trey Mann or whoever, but they were kicking it out because when they got to the paint, that's where I think the lack of ball handling without LaMelo really shows up, especially against a team like Detroit, because once you get into the paint, this is our zone. You don't enter this space without feeling an elbow. And if you feel an elbow, if you get fouled, cool. You go to the foul line, hit your free throws. If you don't, then you're probably going to miss a shot or you're going to turn it over. And the Hornets decided when they weren't hitting free throws that they were going to be a team that turned it over. They didn't even take many shots in the paint, Doug. And I feel like this is a little reminiscent of what happened against the Spurs, where intelligently so, it felt like Charlotte decided, hey, y'all are big and scary down there. They clearly do not run away from smoke, as we saw. But this is what y'all do well. So how about we use your aggressiveness in the paint against you by driving to the paint, and then you guys collapse, and then we'll just kick out to one of the bajillion open shooters, and they got some space to operate with. Khan with a shot fake at the end of this one, too. Like, this is kind of a theme for what happened. But the first half, they were able to supplement the non-primary ball handler without LaMelo with just playing around the horn. Drive, you found just a little slice of the lane. Okay, kick out quickly, or it's going to be a turnover. And they did that. And the other thing is, I go to the fourth quarter, which was just a monster 12 minutes of action following the brawl. When LaMelo was on the bench, he didn't come in till about the 6:30 mark or so. 7:09, there were a couple turnovers in a row. Before that, Doug, I felt like they did a decent enough job of just holding on just a little tiny bit without LaMelo. And then there were a few turnovers in a row, and it got back to double digits, and it was like, okay, LaMelo, need you pretty badly. Can you go organize everything? And that's when we saw them, I think, start to be able to create a little bit more offensively.
Yeah, I mean, God, Khan was just incredible in this game. Your game score leader, you mentioned, I mean, the play, it was shortly after Charles gets ejected, and they blocked Paul Reed 3 times on the same play, scramble play. LaMelo puts the spin move on, passes to Brandon in stride. Instead of Brandon going for the layup, which he might have made, could have made probably pretty easily. I need to go back and look at it. But instead of doing that, he reverses court to Khan for 3. That's when the cable box just went absolutely nuts. And loudest I've heard it come through my speakers. Game 4 of the 15-16, I attended that. That was pretty loud. When Kemba broke the franchise scoring record against Cleveland, that was super loud. So I mean, there have been moments, but that was insane. And then just shortly after, the play you mentioned, Khan on the secondary break, but I think Brandon found him again up top. Pump fake, relocate, devastate. He's going to be.
Love it.
I just want people to just really commune with this. He's going to be doing that for 8 years here, and it's only going to get better. And he's only going to get better as a ball handler. He's not. I think he's rightly playing within himself and understanding. I'm not being asked to do what Sion is being asked to do right now. But I think there was a pass that he made to LaMelo in the corner early in the game that looked like Luka. He looks like Luka at times out there with his ability to drive, draw, and make difficult passes to the corner. This dude's going to be something else. I really can't. I want to fast forward. Actually, no, I don't. I don't want to get any older. I want to. But part of me wants to fast forward to just see what this dude's going to be in 2 seasons.
If that game and that brawl doesn't phase him, and he's still knocking down shots in the fourth and now wants it himself, it's the most emotional that we've seen from him, and it's not even close. He is showing you those facial expressions as soon as he hits that top of the key 3 with the shot fake. I like that, relocate and devastate. Oh, nice work, my friend.
Thank you.
And then I was over there next to the bench where I hang out before we do some of our TV hits. Khan comes over. It was the possession that Tobias Harris scored on him on a post up. Khan is battling. I mean, it's boom, 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 boom. Tobias Harris hits the shot, and Khan goes to the bench and smacks the hell out of the seat. We don't see that from him, but it's okay. We commend him for being a basketball robot, but in those moments, it wasn't taking him out of his game. He went to a different place that we haven't seen outwardly expressed before, but it didn't take him out of his game. Like, that's a Cole rookie, man. Are you serious? You're able to take all of that and move forward through it with everybody else helping out here and there, and LaMelo too. Like, I had lots of stuff to talk about with LaMelo in this game. He struggled, didn't hit shots, turned it over. At the same time, like, I don't know. I just like LaMelo, the organizer. I just like him. I freaking love him. So, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to get to here. It's a long show. And
last
thing.
They could have legitimately gotten back into this game because they generated two amazing looks, one for Brandon Miller and one for Khan, and neither could knock it down. And so, but then I say to myself, next season after that, they're going to knock those down. Like, that's just, to me, this part of the evolution of Knueppel, particularly, but I think Brandon Miller too. Yeah, it's just that's the thing. Like, the takeaway from this game should really be the same thing that Charles Lee said to open his press conference. That this for a loss, this should leave you feeling incredibly excited to be a Charlotte Hornets fan.
Hawks lost by 20 tonight. Hornets are still just a half game back. They'll play Atlanta.
I think
on
Hawks
Wednesday.
tried to fight too. I haven't seen it, but I think the Hawks tried to fight.
Is that right?
See, that's what I'm saying. People, you could put those two things side by side. People are going to say Hawks joke, Hornets not a joke. You know why? Not because of what happened in the fight, but because the fight after the fight.
Yeah. So Hornets still just a half game back of that 9 seed. They beat the Hawks, then they replace one another in each of those spots, and we're not going to have Moussa, Diabate, or Miles Bridges for that game. Just we can bank on that. Suspensions are coming. That's a different episode. We'll get into some of that. But Moose is going to get multiple games, I think. You mentioned it. I think Miles is going to get multiple games. And it's a big deal when you're battling for a playoff spot, not play in even a playoff spot. We'll get to that.
But they'll be back for the playoffs first round. I could do 7. I could do 7 of those. I could do 7 of those against the Detroit Pistons. That'd be fun.
Oh, yeah. No, they'll definitely be back. This is like a question of, is it 3? Is it 5? If it's 5, I think we don't pass 5. Beef Stew does because he's a repeat offender. But I don't think Miles or Moussa.
5 was the number that popped into my head, and I'm not an expert on this.
Same.
I'm not a rules expert, but 5 was the number that popped into my head. I'm going to rapid fire a couple of these Sicko Brigade because I asked for them. I didn't ask for Lamentations. I asked for Sicko Screams because I didn't feel like Lamentations was the right thing. That's the thing I typically ask for after losses, but it didn't feel right. I'm just going to rapid fire, and here we go. I'm so happy Charles got ejected. I was beginning to fear he'd never do it. That's what the bully does when you stand up to them and they get scared. They run away and cry. The Pistons got worried. What a game. Refs needed to let the boys play. We have arrived with the mentality that we have. We're going to be really tough. This one says, I haven't seen a crowd like that since the Coliseum days. Kudos to us for battling back. Looked like we were about to get our doors blown off. Not really blaming the refs, but should be questioned about how they let the game get so physical to attempt to get things under control in the last 5 minutes and call about anything.
Too late.
Too late.
Yeah, way too late. Yeah, and the 5-game suspension, I'm with you. I think that's max. I'd be surprised if both of these guys got suspended after that.
You want my official prediction? I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Moose 5.
Oh, okay.
Beef Stew. I don't even know. 7, 10. I don't know what the repeater thing is.
I think more than that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Wow. This is me. Just again, you've seen me as soon as I got to the house. I opened up my computer in 5-10 minutes. So, but I think more.
I think it's probably 5, 3, and then Duren. If he doesn't get 3, he gets 1 for the initial smack.
The musher. The instigator.
But I think it's mush gets you 1 and maybe more. Maybe they go. But I think they've got. I don't think you can give. And I listen. This is not me, the fanalist, the Charlotte Hornets advocate. I'm not advocate, but I'm just saying. I'm thinking about it from the league's perspective. You can't give Duren more than Moose, who took a legitimate swing and tried to go after him a couple of times. Like, you're not.
Yeah,
I just think it's going to be 3-1 and then or 5 and then 3 for Miles because he tried to start multiple fights. I got more to say on that, but not on this episode.
Yeah, they both re-escalated it. Like Moussa re-escalated, Miles re-escalated, Beef Stew re-escalated. Jalen Duren is fun. I mean, it's probably hurting his reputation because people are calling him, fake tough guy.
He did not want the smoke officially.
He's backing up. He's backing up the whole time. He was backing up the entire time. That's what Jalen Duren was doing. So yeah, the instigation of it all. We'll be here to cover it all on Locked On Hornets.
I respect it. He has a pretty face, just like mine. I would have backed up too. But
there were plenty of people that backed up. Jalen Duren being one of them. Thanks for making it your first listen. We're free and available anywhere you get your pods. That includes YouTube. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com, writing about all of it. He's also on Yahoo Sports Daily behind the scenes. Jason Fitz and Caroline Fenton. They're talking about all things, I guess, Hornets now. They're just a mainstay. It's A block material.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the rundown. I think I think it probably will shoot up there. I don't know if it's gonna hit A block, but it might.
All right. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ. It's A block material on Wes and Walker. Tune in tomorrow from 12 to 3. We're on Sports Radio 92.7 WFNZ. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
Ready, fight!